Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. RHOBH stars Mauricio Umansky and PK Kemsley dragged for behavior at Summer House star Kyle Cooke's DJ set. Mauricio Umansky and PK Kemsley were spotted hanging out with other Bravo stars over the weekend at Kyle Cooke's latest DJ gig. The Summer House star has entered his DJ era, and the Bravo family has come out in droves to support him. However, we have to say that seeing PK and Mauricio, their partying it up was not on our bingo card. Kyle's DJ set took place in Miami, with the Instagram account at @BravoBravoBravoBri sharing an IG story from @LetShuga_Nessa at the event. Mauricio and PK were in the footage along with Kyle's Summer House co-stars Carl Rack, Jess Solomon, and West Wilson. While the guys were having a blast, not everyone was here for the Bravo hang. RHOBH stars Mauricio Umansky and PK Kemsley dragged for behavior at Summer Star House Kyle Cooke's DJ set. The comments section was filled with haters slamming the newly single men for hanging out and partying with the younger Bravo stars. And this is the new version of Peter Pan. Little boys who will never grow up, read a comment while another said, Peter Pan tribe. One critic even declared that Peter Pan would not have stayed at Kyle's party. Put your top back on, mate, you are in your 50s, wrote a critic. Another expressed, careful boys, your midlife crisis is showing how embarrassing for them. Mauricio was also told to grow up by one critic. The sentiment that Mauricio needs to grow up was mentioned more than once, as were the guys giving off ick vibes in the video. These men are children, no wonder they're all getting divorced lol, read a remark. Not all of the comments were slamming the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills men. They got plenty of support considering their separation from Kyle Richards and Dorit Kemsley. If the ladies can do it, why can't they? Luan de Lesseps still parties with the best of them, said a fan. Mauricio's good looks were also mentioned, and a fan said he's in his wild era, now that he's no longer married. The trolls calling out PK and Mauricio comes ahead of the RHOBH Season 14 premiere. Will PK Kemsley and Mauricio Umansky be on Season 14 of RHOBH? The fallout of Kyle and Mauricio's split and Dorit and PK's split will be front and center when the Beverly Hills ladies return. During an interview on Live with Kelly and Mark, Kyle confirmed that not only does she film with Mauricio, but the two guys filmed scenes together without the women. It seems fans will get all sides of the story as these former couples embark on the single chapter in their lives. As monsters and critics previously reported, that's evident from Dorit's behavior in the trailer. What do you think of PK and Mauricio hanging with the Summer House guys? As the night began, the anticipation in the air at the Hamptons Club was palpable. Summer House star Kyle Cooke had been hyping his DJ debut for weeks, and the Bravo universe seemed to buzz with curiosity. Word had spread that a few surprise guests might show up, drawing an eclectic crowd of reality TV aficionados and a mix of house music lovers. When Mauricio Umansky and PK Kemsley walked through the door together, designer shirts crisp and grins wide, heads turned, and not just in admiration. The crowd knew Mauricio and PK, not just as beloved husbands from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but as a pair famous for their lighthearted, if sometimes chaotic, shenanigans. But what began as lighthearted fun soon raised some eyebrows. As Kyle kicked off his set with a thumping bassline and an infectious dance track, PK wasted no time in making his presence felt. He leaned over the DJ booth with exaggerated enthusiasm, throwing his arms up in support. At first it was harmless, even charming. PK's in the house, he shouted, his voice booming over the crowd, causing a few chuckles. But as the set continued, he lingered a little too long, making requests with the fervor of a kid at his first concert. He asked Kyle for anything with a reggae beat, and then a classic rock throwback, none of which fit the vibe Kyle was crafting. Cooke's usual easygoing grin began to tighten. Mauricio, meanwhile, was a mix of his usual chill and something a little less restrained. Leaning back against the bar with a cocktail in hand, he surveyed the dance floor with a slightly glazed look, that I'm here to vibe aura unmistakable. But every now and then he would join PK, laughing loudly and calling for him to give the people what they want. For Kyle, the tipping point came when PK, apparently having become entranced by his own excitement, picked up the DJ mic and attempted to give a shout-out. "Let's hear it for the Housewives' husbands," he bellowed, awkwardly maneuvering the mic as if it were an extension of his hand. The moment didn't quite land as he'd hoped. A few cheers rang out, but they were mostly from Bravo diehards who recognized him. A small group near the back even booed, not fans of the added bonus entertainment. Mauricio, too, by now had taken to calling out during quieter parts of the songs, adding his own whoop at every bass drop. The subtlety that typically defined his persona on RHOBH seemed to melt into the DJ booth lights, and the general consensus among the partygoers was that the duo had crossed the line from fun-loving to downright disruptive. But perhaps the most awkward moment came when Mauricio, clearly riding a wave of unrestrained enthusiasm, decided to challenge PK to an impromptu dance-off. The crowd parted, eager to watch the impromptu face-off. At first, it was amusing. PK took on a humorous approach, hitting awkward 90s-inspired moves with a flair that only PK could pull off. Mauricio followed, blending a casual shimmy with a few out-of-place salsa moves that looked surprisingly polished. But as the song ended, PK didn't want to stop. He continued to dance wildly to the beat of a new track, bumping into other dancers and drawing even more bewildered looks. When Kyle transitioned into a slower beat to let the energy settle, PK and Mauricio took this as a cue to move into cool dad mode, snapping selfies with bewildered clubgoers who hadn't signed up for the impromptu meet and greet. They hugged strangers, invited anyone with a camera to join, and Mauricio took it one step further by insisting that each selfie be perfect, often demanding multiple takes. Eventually, Kyle's friends, including cast members from Summer House, began whispering to each other. Paige DeSorbo was overheard muttering to Sarah Miller that they might need a Bravo bouncer to clear the dance floor. But things really came to a head when PK, finally realizing his earlier shout-out hadn't had the response he wanted, took to the mic again. "This one's for the true Bravo fans," he yelled, only to be met with a dead silence, broken only by Mauricio's attempted "yeah" from across the dance floor. At this point, Kyle Cooke shot a look that could only be described as a mix of exasperation and disbelief. He gently pushed PK away from the booth, leaning into the mic and murmuring with a laugh, "Let's give the DJ a chance to actually DJ." Afterward, the night wound down in a quieter, tenser vibe. Once PK and Mauricio retreated to the bar, visibly cooling down from their impromptu set takeover, the energy seemed to shift back toward the music itself, with Kyle eventually able to play through his chosen mix without interruption. As the event wrapped, whispers ran through the crowd, with many wondering whether the scene would make its way into an episode or if Mauricio and PK's antics would be yet another talking point on the Bravo gossip circuit. As the lights dimmed and people began to head for the exit, Mauricio and PK, both visibly unfazed, shared a final toast at the bar. They hadn't noticed the skeptical glances or the murmured side conversations. For them, it was just another memorable night out in the Bravo universe.